Homestead. Today we're going to be talking about a new project for us. This is going to be a ground cover. We're going to put this little frame together and put this over our plants, and so we're going to show you how to build one of these. So let's get started. What we're doing is we're using PVC pipe to build this. We're using the thin wall, what they call thin wall PVC pipe, because it's, for us, the reason we're using it is because it's a little less expensive to buy. What we're going to do is we're going to take, we've got 3 pieces here. We're going to take these 3 and cut them in half. These pieces are 10 foot long, and we're going to cut each of them to 5 feet. So we're going to mark this at 5 foot, and we'll mark all 3 of them since we're here. It doesn't have to be exactly 5 feet, but it has to be pretty close. And then we'll just take cutters and cut these in half. There's 1, 2, and 3. So now we have 6 pieces that are 5 foot long each. Some of the other fittings I'll go ahead and go over with you that we're going to be using are these crosses. These are PVC fittings. We're going to need 3 of those. And then we also have elbows or 90s, PVC fittings. We'll have to have 4 of these. And these are the PVC tees, and we will have to have 12 of those. So, we're ready to get started with this. Now, you can make your bed as long as you want it to be. These particular ones that we're making are going to be just a little over 10 feet long. And so you can make your bed as big as you need it to be. It can be a 4-foot bed, or it can be a 5-foot or 6-foot, whatever length you need to be. However long your bed in your garden is how long you would want to make these beds. So the other thing that I need to point out also is this is what we call PEX tubing. Again, you can get this at Home Depot, Lowe's, any kind of home improvement center. And this is also 1/2 inch. And what you do is you leave it in the plastic, and then you pull it out from the center, and that way you don't have this thing climbing all over the floor and you're trying to keep up with it. What we do with these is we use these for the hoops, we call them, that goes from one side of the bed over to the other side. And you'll see that in a few minutes. Once we start to put this together, you'll sort of kind of get an idea of what this is going to look like when we get started putting it together. So let's get started on putting some of the fittings in. You'll kind of see it start to take shape. Out of the 4th piece of pipe, we're going to cut 2 2-foot sections of pipe. And these will become the ends that the 90s will connect to. So I've got my pipe here, got it marked to 2 foot. We'll put a mark right there, and then we'll cut that at 2 feet. And then we'll do the same thing for the other end. 2 foot. And now we have our 2 end pieces that will have the 90s on them. Put that one on there. And now we have our end piece for one end. And then we'll do the same thing for the other end. And we'll be ready to start cutting it into sections and putting it together. Next, we're going to go ahead and cut these ends pieces over here to attach these 90s and these T's on this end over here. So what we're going to do, we've already got these pre-marked. So I'm going to cut them right there and right here. And then these little short pieces will go into this T like this. That's for the other side. And then this goes right here. This will be the first place where we will have the hoop, we call it, that goes from this side over to the other. This is the little stub-up pieces, we call them, that goes in the top. And all these are for is just to hold that PEX in place. So that PEX will fit down inside of this, and then you can bend it over to the other side. And then over here on the other side, we have the same thing. This goes here. This goes here. So now we have the end of our first hoop to go on there. Our next section is going to be right here, and we're going to cut this on this mark. Okay. We'll cut all three of these. What Carol did was, before we started to cut these, when we got them all laid out, she went by with a marker and marked them. You can see these little marks here. This one has 4. That's because these are sections. So we started at one end and worked our way down. Section 1, 2, 3, and 4. That helps us keep these in line so we know which ones go together. This is section 5. Okay? So what we're going to do now is, this is the second half of what we just cut. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to cut these. And again, each of these pieces here are about 2 foot 4 inches long. And then each one has a T in the middle, just like this. And then this connects to the one before it, like that. And we just do the same thing all the way down until we get to the other end. This third piece that you see here, that we're going to be cutting here in a minute, actually is for the center piece. It runs the whole length of it also in the top of the hoops, and you'll see that when we put that together. That keeps it from falling down.
Are you still recording?
Yep. Okay. Alright, so this is our little short piece, like we had on the other end. Cut those off. This T goes here. This little short 3-inch piece goes here. And then our 90, or an elbow, whichever you call it, goes right there. And then we do the same thing over here on this side. T goes here. Short piece goes here. Connects to the 90. And we have a complete frame. This is the 1/2-inch pegs that we are using to make our little hoops that go over from one side to the other. They come in a big roll, as you can see. And so what we did was, we've already marked this one out, and it's 5 feet long. So I'm just going to use this one to mark the next one. And then we'll cut it right here. And now we have another 5-foot piece. Okay, so from here, you can see they're already curved, which works out well. We're just going to put this PEX down inside of this little 3-inch piece of pipe right here. Just like that. And then the other side goes into here. Now, when you put these in, you may notice that the T's, because we didn't glue these, it pushes the T's out. That's okay. It's going to do that because the pipe has tension. So if your T's end up sort of flared out a little bit, it's not a big deal. And then we'll do the same thing over here. This one will go into here. And this one goes into here. Just like that. Now we have hoops. Alright, what we're going to do now is we're going to put a T. This is a 1/2-inch PVC T over this PEX. Just like this. And then this PEX will go inside of these pieces of pipe. Like that. Then we're going to have another piece of pipe in the center right here, and this will just go into here, like that. And then next we have a cross. PVC fitting again, it's a cross. It has 4 holes in it. This will attach to this end, like that. And then our next piece of pipe, the PEX that is, will go through the other side of the cross, attaches to this over here on both sides. Right. Okay, whenever you're putting these together, it's when you've got your PEX, before you attach it, it's easier if you put the cross on first, like so, and then put this in, and then attach your next piece of pipe. That one goes into there and connects to this one. So now we have a piece running to full length in the center of this. And you just keep going, doing the same thing all the way down. That. Okay. Now we're to the other end where we have our end piece on here, so we're going to use a T on this end. Same thing, just run this through the T, connect it in the sides, put your piece of pipe in, and now we're complete. Now we have what looks like a little tunnel. Okay, what this center piece of pipe is for is to support the road cover, it's called, and you'll see it in a minute. It's a white cloth that we bought to put over this. This is intended to keep the bugs and all the stuff that you don't want in your plants out of it. So we'll just drape that cloth over this, and this gives it center support so it doesn't sink in and press down on your plants. Okay? This is the cloth that we were talking about earlier. And as you can see, we just sort of draped this over this. This is one that we had already had built, and so you just put this over. This cloth happens to be 6 feet wide, and we bought a 100-foot roll. You can buy them in different lengths, so whatever length you need. And what we'll do is we'll just drape this over the end right here, and then we'll gather this end up and probably tuck it underneath or something, or put something heavy on the end so it doesn't blow off. This cover is... the purpose of it is to keep the bugs out. Last year, we lost an entire crop of cucumbers and squash and zucchini because of the little worms that get into the vine of the plant, and they just get in there and eat it up, and they kill it, and eventually the whole thing dies. We got one yellow squash off of our spring harvest this year because of those bugs. We have grasshoppers, and we've got worms, and there's all kinds of different insects and stuff that we have here that get into these things and eat them up. So we have to put this ground cover, or this cloth, over it to keep the bugs and stuff out of it, and hopefully this will keep it from happening again. We got our hoop structure in place now. We're getting ready to put this cloth over it. These are squash and zucchini that we've got planted in here. And we're going to just pull this fabric. You can see I've got it started already on this end, and I'm working my way down. So all we're going to do is just pull this over and cover this up, like this. Drape it over the sides, and you make sure that you have enough on both sides. Like that. And to weight this down, for now probably, we're going to use these extra T-posts that we have here. We're just going to put them on top of this, up close to the side, to keep this in place. Just like that. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side, and it'll be in place. When we originally built this, it was 10 feet long. Our 10-foot mark comes to this end right here. It turns out our bed that we had the plants in were a little bit longer. So what we had to do is we had to come back and and extend this off a little bit. We're going to have to cut another piece for this top center cut right here because the piece we had isn't long enough to get to this other side over here. So we're going to have to change that a little bit. That's one of the good things about this setup is if your bed is longer, then you can make it as long as you need to. So if your bed is 4 feet long, you can make it 4 feet. And if a situation happens like what we had here, all you have to do is take them apart at the fittings and add some pipe to it and extend it down. If you make one and it's too long for what you have, you can take some of it apart and make it shorter. So that's a good thing about this setup we like. That's one of the reasons why we don't glue the fittings together when we put these together, because if you need to take them apart and add to or take from, it's easier to do than if they're glued together. So we got this put together now, and we're going to see how this works out. Yeah. On each end of this, we just cut extra fabric. And you can see right here where we cut it off, and we had extra fabric left, and that's fine. And we just laid a T-post across this to weight this down to hold it in place, and we did the same thing on the other end, so that when the wind blows, it doesn't blow this thing off of here. This is supposed to be pretty good for the wind to go right through it if it does blow, and that's a good thing. So we like this. We're hoping this is going to work out pretty good for us. Another good thing that we like about this, as far as us closing the ends of these up, is so that the bugs can't get in here on the ends either. They can't get in through the sides and they can't get in through the ends. And so hopefully this is going to be completely surrounded the way it is, and we'll keep the bugs out and we'll see what happens. Hopefully this is going to work out good. This is the package that the fabric came in. The name of the company is Ag Fabric. Their website is agfabric.com. You can look them up. You can buy directly from this company, or you can get them off of Amazon. I ordered this one from Amazon, and again, they come in different lengths and probably different widths as well. This one happens to be 6 foot wide and 100 foot long. You can get them in 50-foot rolls too, I think. So this is what we used, and feel free to look them up and order something from them. They have all sorts of things, not just this stuff. They have all kinds of things pertaining to gardens and planting and doing agriculture stuff. It's an agriculture company. This particular company sells a lot of agricultural type of equipment and stuff that you can buy. They have wires that they make for this purpose, for the hoops in these. We thought they were a little pricey, and so we thought of another way to do this without spending so much money. Now, if your budget allows for you to do that sort of thing, that's great. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But we were just trying to save money here on the homestead, and so we figured out a way to use the PEX pipe, and it does the same purpose. So that's one of the things that we did instead of buying the wire that goes in this stuff. So, all right, that's pretty much it for our little contraption, as we call it, that we put together here for our plants. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Leave us comments, ask questions. If you have family and friends that are interested in this sort of thing, pass our name along to them as well, so that they can learn stuff and maybe get some good stuff like this too. So, until next time, thanks for joining us here on Hideaway Homestead.